Do you ever feel guilty for taking time for yourself? Ever feel guilty or like it's selfish to do something for yourself? I want to ask you this question because this is actually coming up for me right now, and I sat with this morning in my meditation to sort of uncover what that's all about and how I can really shift out of that state, because the things I'm feeling guilty about doing are things that I really want to be building into my day. I really want to be creating a morning habit, a morning routine where I get up. It doesn't have to be meditation first thing in the morning, but I want to be doing a meditation and I want to journal, and I want to do this without feeling guilty about taking the time to do it. And also, like, it doesn't have to feel like, I don't want it to feel like a task. I want to be able to feel like I can take this 1 hour, maybe even less, of my own time, give it to myself, enjoy it, and be present for it, and not spend the entire time that I'm doing it thinking about what I should be doing, like being downstairs helping with the hotel, or working on my business instead, or I should be, there's a long list of shoulds that I should be doing. And it comes up for me every single time that I sit down to do a meditation, and it's driving me crazy, to be honest. And it came up for me again last week or the week before, when one afternoon I spotted a little window of opportunity between buying some groceries for the hotel, picking up a guest, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go down to the lake and I'm going to go for a run. And I went and bought the groceries, and then I was on the way to the lake, and all of a sudden I was riddled with guilt. And I was like, should I be doing this? Like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should go back to the hotel where, there's no guests at the moment. They're all out skiing. But, really sat with, I feel guilty about taking time, 20 minutes. I wasn't even going for long, to go for a run. So I've had this feeling coming up for me, and frankly, I don't like it. I don't understand, or I didn't understand where it was coming from. So I've been sitting with this, and it's really funny. This morning I realized, as I did sit down for my meditation, that while I feel guilty about sitting down to do a meditation, and then after that spending a little bit of time journaling, I don't feel guilty about scrolling through Instagram for maybe a solid hour while having my coffee in the morning. And I thought to myself, like, that's some whack priorities right there. That one bothered me the most when I realized that, like, what the fuck is that all about? Like, seriously, I will waste an hour of my time, maybe a bit more in a given day, scrolling through social media. But when I intentionally sit down to say, I'd love to have a regular meditation practice because I know how it makes me feel, I feel guilty. I thought, this isn't okay. So I sat with that in my meditation today, and actually I brought it into my meditation. And because I sat down today and I was like, no, I'm effing doing this, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna feel guilty. But I actually asked the question, and I teach this when I teach meditation. Sometimes we can ask a question and then let our meditation be a quiet place where we can hear an answer. And I got an answer today. And so what this all boils down to, and I wrote some notes, is my own feelings of self-worth and self-love. Now, that didn't just hit me like a lightning bolt. It took me a little bit to get to that. But if you've watched some of my videos, I really talk about, like, getting underneath the surface of what it is we feel, or what it is we're thinking, and what it is we're experiencing. And as I sat with this today and got a little bit deeper, I realized actually my inability to give myself 1 hour of my own time actually boils down to my feelings of self-worth and my own self-love. That one struck a chord with me, and I was like, okay, that's crazy. And in that moment, I then thought to myself, well, that's really sad. And then I thought to myself, if I gave myself 1 hour of my own time to do meditation, to journal, but I did it from a place of, I'm doing this because I love myself, because this would be meaningful and important to me and would actually make me feel like I'm giving something to myself lovingly, how would that affect the things that I then go on to do? Like, how would that affect the way I show up for my business? How would that affect the way that I would show up for Ricky? How could I show up for both of those things differently when I take the time to fill my own cup first? How would it feel to fill my own cup first? I wrote all these questions down. What more might be available to me if I chose to give myself my own love first? And so I really sat with those questions, and I was like, wow, you know, like that would, if I gave myself an unguilty, I don't even know if that's a phrase like an English term, an unguilty, a guiltless 1 hour in the morning, and actually turned it from feeling like it was selfish to genuinely self-loving, that would change the game for how the rest of my day would feel. That would change the game for how I approached Ricky. It would change the game for how I approached my business. But I mean, really, when I think about it, just Ricky, because secretly, in the back of my mind, I hold resentment towards him because I think, you know, I should be spending time with you, or I should be helping you, or I should be doing this. And so in the back of my mind, my ego's like, well, I don't do this, or I can't enjoy this, or I can't sit here and not feel guilty because of you. And that, I'm going to talk about this in a couple of days' time. I'm pointing one finger at him, and there's 3 pointing at me. There's 3 pointing at me. This is my stuff. That's got nothing to do with him. So it's about self-love, right? So here's the thing we need to understand. When we are saying no to ourselves, when we are saying, you know, no, or feeling guilty about, or feeling it's selfish to do a meditation, sign up for a course, give ourselves some of our own time, take time out, read a book, get a massage, go out with the girlfriends. When we say no to those things we actually really want that would feel meaningful and important to us, we're saying to ourselves that we do not love ourselves enough to give ourselves that thing we want. We are saying that we aren't worthy of having or enjoying that thing we want. And when we say no, we're saying that we don't deserve it. And it is a reflection simply of our self-worth and our belief in our own inherent value. And I really want you to take a moment to let that sink in, because if you are feeling guilty about things that, you know, would just simply, if you allowed yourself to enjoy them, make you feel more joyful, would make you feel content and happy and nourished in some way, simply by just giving yourself your own time, attention and love, imagine how you would feel. Each time we deny ourselves that healthy meal, the walk, the run, the meditation, the date with a friend, all that stuff I said, we're saying that we do not deserve to have them. We do not deserve to have our own love. We don't love ourselves enough to let ourselves have it. Here's the thing. We do not need to earn our self-worth. Our self-worth is not dependent on the things that we do for other people. You don't need to be a good wife. You don't need to be a good friend. You don't need to be a good mum. You don't need to be a good colleague, employee, person to earn a sense of worth and value. It is not about what you do for other people. It is not about that calculates your value or how worthy you are of enjoying yourself or giving to yourself. You and I are worthy right now, as we are, because we never ever need to earn our own love, right? Love, true love, is not conditional. Love is unconditional. So that means that it does not have to be earned, it is simply given. And why are we not simply giving it unconditionally to ourselves? So I want to ask you, do you love yourself? Do you love yourself unconditionally? And why is making time for yourself so hard? Why is saying yes to yourself and giving yourself what you want so difficult? And it's because deep down, you don't believe that you deserve your own love, your own time, your own attention. Your love for yourself is conditional. And I'm realizing the same about myself. So how do we shift it? Because it's great that we've recognized that, but now what do we do? So to shift out of conditional love for yourself and into unconditional love for yourself, you give yourself the time. you give yourself that 1 hour, I'm talking to myself right now, of my own time, and I treat that hour with sacredness, and I treat it as if it is the most luxurious, beautiful thing that I could ever give myself. And I sit in that space for that hour and I enjoy it, and I do whatever the hell it is that I want to be doing that feels loving and meaningful and kind and nourishing for myself, and I enjoy it. And here's a really practical application for you. So I want you to write this down, some journal questions. So let's uncover the why for you. So first and foremost, right now, I want you to write this question. Number 1, right now it feels like what? It feels like it's hard for me. I feel guilty for, taking time to meditate. This is right now, it feels like there's so much I have to do that I can't make time for myself. Just write it all out. What's the excuses? What are the stories? Right now, I think, you might uncover that you think that it's your husband's fault that you don't have time because he wants this and he wants that and blah, blah, blah. Right now, I think. That's question 2. Question 3. And all of this feeling and thinking, it gets me what? How does that manifest in your life? You end up then feeling resentful. I still want the thing I want. I feel frustrated. This is what it gets me: frustration, annoyance. Just I'm here having this feeling of wanting this thing and never having it. Question 4. If I gave myself X, for me, 1 hour of my time every day, I would feel what? Answer that question. If I get next one, number 5, if I gave myself this hour, I would think what? How would your thoughts change? And then once you've looked at what you would feel and think if you gave yourself that thing you're desiring, I would be able to what? How would that shift things for you? How would you then be differently showing up for your husband, your wife, your partner, your children, your job, your employers, your employees? What's going to change for you? What is going to be that major benefit for you? The next powerful question, because it's great when we uncover all of this stuff, but what are we going to do about it? Put it into action. Next question is, I am committed to what? I'm going to commit to that hour a day. Next one, what do I need to do in order to make this happen? I need to get up early. Maybe. I need to let my husband know that I want to spend 1 hour a day of all of our day that we're awake, alone, meditating. I'm going to tell him that because why? Because then I'll feel less guilty about not giving that time to him. I'm just going to tell him outright, listen, I want an hour of my time to myself and I want to not feel guilty about it. So I'm going to tell you that I'm going to take it. Is that okay? And I'm just going to, of course he's going to say yes. He'd be like, why are you asking me this question? Right? So what do you need to do in order to not feel guilty? How can you set this up for yourself? Writing that down. And then I want you to try it. And then I want you to keep trying it and then tweak it, right? One of the things that I've said to myself is get up early and do it straight away. I tried that this morning and I didn't like it. Actually, I didn't get up early, but I tried it straight away and it actually just made it feel like another task. I don't want to get out of bed and then just meditate straight away and get it done. I actually really want to approach it in an intentional way where I'm like, okay, now is my time to do this. So try it out. Play with it, see what works, see what doesn't, find the perfect way for it to work for you so you'll do it. And then ask for what you need from the people around you to make it happen, because it's a self-worth issue and it's about how much we love ourselves. And the only way for us to turn that around is to actually love ourselves unconditionally and not think we have to earn our own time or our own love or our own attention and give it to ourselves. So if this is an issue for you, then you want to join me in a program that I'm launching, The Shift. We start on March 28th, and there's a big module that we are learning about is how we are not showing up for ourselves every single day. And that comes so much from the thoughts we think, the ego we have, the beliefs we've formed, and the stories we tell ourselves. And we dive into that as well. How do we recognize them? How do we work with them? How do we unpack them so that we can let them sort of transform and open up for us an opportunity to start to love ourselves a bit more? And what are the barriers that exist for me to even care about myself in that way? Because a lot of women really, really struggle with that. They struggle with it even to sign up for the course because it feels indulgent and selfish to 1, take the time, and 2, spend the money on themselves. So if that's something you're thinking when you hear me talk about this course, is I want you to check that. You know, I've had people say that to me before in the past when they've signed up for the course. It felt indulgent, and I thought I should have been spending my time on something else. They took the course and like, I'm so glad I took that time because of the things that they learned about why they thought that. So if you want to join me, the shift enrollment is now open. There's some powerful things we're going to learn. Check out the link in my bio to learn more. We start in a couple of weeks, but otherwise I want you to begin to feel like you can do the things you want to do without the guilt and the feelings of selfishness, by remembering it's about unconditional love. You do not have to earn your own love. That's my chat for a day. If you know someone that needs to watch this video, please share it with them. Sending you so much unconditional love. Bye.